Hi, my name is Hubert Bedu, Lead Economic Analyst of the New Force. I'm happy that we've met again to continue our discussions on matters concerning the Ghanaian populace, Africa, and the world at large. Today, we'll be addressing issues concerning aid, foreign aid. Can our country sustain itself without aid? No. No, because we do not have the financial capacity. If the whole world crashed and we were to rebuild again, and you were the only survivor, and you lived on a different planet, and you could see all the continents in your palm, with the resources therein, Africa would be the last continent you would think that they would need any aid from any other continent. And so to answer that question, we've never ever had the need for foreign aid. However, because we've not had competent leadership, functional leadership, and a leadership that truly cares about the people, we've had to fall on foreign aid for many decades. And even with that, you've had more money moving out of Africa every year in the last 50 years than there is coming in. You see, since 2012, there's been over $80 to $100 billion of money moving out of Africa. This is capital flight. These are monies that we can't trace. These are monies that we can't account for. They are monies that have been gained from corrupt activities. They are 10 times bigger than the amount we receive from USAID, from the IMF, from the World Bank, from Japanese grants. These are the issues that we need to address. When we begin to think of self-sufficiency, we can ignite that part of our brain cells that pushes us to do good for ourselves, that pushes us to fix the loopholes in our system. Foreign aid, without a doubt, has done serious damage and harm to Ghana and the continent of Africa as a whole. Any money coming into this land, any money coming into Ghana has been planned to generate a higher return for the sender of that money. You see, once you begin to think of self-sufficiency, once we realize that we can do everything ourselves, we have the capacity to produce what we need domestically. We have the capacity to produce what we wear, what we sit on, the machines we use. Then we can begin to think what type of leadership we need. We can begin to think what type of systems to put in place to make these things possible. But the moment we have a feeling that there is this country elsewhere that is able to provide us with aid, then we cannot achieve anything. They are happy to give us 1 billion out of the tens of billions that they extract in mineral resources from our continent. They are happy to give us $100 million through USAID every year out of the 1 billion they extract from the continent. We have to advise ourselves. We have to sit up as a nation and as a continent to rise up and feed ourselves, number one, to produce what we need, to produce what we wear, to produce the machines that we use. Africa is producing all the cobalt we use in our mobile phones. Africa is producing the nickel. Africa is producing the gold. Africa is expected to have or projected to have more than 1.5 billion of its population under 25 years by 2050. This is an enormous potential waiting for us as a continent. And if we continue to rely on foreign aid and foreign assistance, we cannot see the treasure that we hold. We have not built capacity to sustain ourselves as it stands. We have not built structures that are sustainable, that are self-reinforcing, and structures that are run by Ghanaian people, that are beneficial to the people of Ghana. And so within the next 1 to 4 years or 5 years, it will be very difficult for our country to survive without grants and foreign assistance. However, if we put in place radical structural and economic adjustments, I keep saying these, if we are able to implement radical structural and economic adjustments, we can sustain this economy. If we are able to contain our debt and aggressively limit external debt, we can sustain this economy. If we are able to contain inflation, if we are able to be fiscally disciplined and limit the amount of money government is printing or the Bank of Ghana is printing every now and then, we will do well. In 2023, we spent close to 700 million Ghana cedis just on currency printing. 700 million Ghana cedis. And this is why we say in our pillars that we have a need to build capacity to print money ourselves, to print our notes ourselves. Once we are able to go into security printing at that scale, we can do it for other African countries. Africa has to think of sustaining itself. Africa has to be self-reliant. We are the least continent that anybody would think of to not be self-reliant. It's a shock to the whole world. And I would agree with Tony Blair, who said that Africa remains a scar in the conscience of humanity. Whether we like it or not, it's a fact.